Hi, my name is Felix Desbiens and I'm a teacher for MusiProf, and I'm here today to talk to you about triads on the guitar and how triads can lead to furthering your harmonic vocabulary and open all sorts of doors on the instrument. There's a PDF I wrote about that, and you can click on the link below to see the PDF where I suggest the exercises and I explain pretty in depth what this concept is about. So triads. Triads are everywhere, and in harmony, in functional harmony, like harmony is built in thirds, so triads are basically where everything comes from. And on the guitar, when you have a firm grasp of these triads, that can lead to pretty interesting voice leading and chord superimpositions. I'll give you a pretty simple example to begin. This voicing of C major 7th that everyone plays, it's the most common way of playing a major 7th chord on the guitar. If you look at it, what it actually is an E minor chord, E minor triad here. So G, B, and E over a bass of C. So that's this sound. Now this triad, this E minor triad over C, you can play it most anywhere. You can play it like this. And that creates another voicing of C major 7th. You can play it like that. Yet another one. So that is one way that you can directly see where triads can come handy in playing chords. And if you don't believe me, look at this C major chord, the C major open chord that is maybe one of the first chords you learn to play on the guitar. What it is actually is on the first three strings of the chord, it's a C major chord root position. On the second set of strings, you have first inversion. And on the last set of strings, a second inversion. So it's actually just 3 C triads all together that create this sound. Same thing for this G chord. First inversion triad, root position triad, second inversion triad over a G bass. So when you become aware of these, and I go pretty in depth in my PDF about fingerings of triads. Once you get a firm grasp of those, you'll see that they're everywhere. And so where to go from there, what to practice, the first thing would obviously be to take these triads through the scale. Now, if you're not familiar, the major scale is 1 major, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7 diminished. It's always that, whether it's in C or in B flat or any key, it's always that order. So what you should do on the guitar at first is practice those triads in a as thoroughly as possible on the neck. So what I did and what many people do is to just take one set of string. Like for example, I will take the second set of 3 strings, meaning the strings number 4, 3, and 2, and I will play only on those strings all the triads in C major in root position. I'll start in root position. So I'll go at the lowest point possible on this set of strings. So that would take me to here, E minor triad, which is actually the 3rd degree of C major. That's where I start. That's where my instrument allows me to start. So I start here, and then F, G, A minor, B diminished, C, D minor, E minor. So I'm just taking it through the scale, going as high as my instrument allows me to do, and down. Now I just showed you how to practice triads in root position. Of course, you should practice them in first position, in first inversion and second inversion as well. It's just as important. I'm not going to do it for time purposes, but it's all in the PDF. And all those three voicings, root position, first inversion, and second inversion are equally as important. Then the next step would be to do it on all the guitars. So I would switch string groups whenever I feel like it, and not the same place every time, of course, because you want to be comfortable switching it everywhere. At some point, you want to be able to play them in a as fluid way as possible. So if I play, for example, the first inversion in C, I would start at the lowest point possible on my guitar, 6th string here. That would be a D minor, first inversion. Now I'm gonna switch string group here. Switch. I'm gonna keep going. Switch. And now that's pretty high. But anyway, you get the idea. I'm covering the whole range of the instrument using only that voicing, which is a triad in first inversion. Now I'm giving all these examples in C, but it goes without saying that you have to do that in all the keys, because not all music is in C major. There's some tunes in D flat, there's some tunes in G, so you have to play that in all the keys, ultimately. That's the goal. And when you practice that, what it does is that it shows you where they are, and it learns, your hand learns how to make those fingerings in as a smooth way as possible. And that will lead to being able to voice lead notes through the neck on most any chord changes. There's an infinite number of musical situations where that thing can be applied. I will show you a couple. A good one is playing the 3rd and 6th degrees of any given chord. Let's demonstrate. On C major chord, I would play the 3rd, E minor, and 6th, A minor. Triads on this chord in order to create different sounds. The 3rd is actually, that E minor chord is actually the 5th, the 7th, and the 3rd of C major, and A minor chord is the root, the 3rd and the 6th of C major chord. So that's two interesting sounds to play on C major. Examples of how that can be voice-led. That's one. I'm just playing the first inversion E minor and then first inversion A minor, and I'm holding the melody note E, so it sounds more smooth. You have one note that's holding, and a bass, a stack of notes that's moving on the bottom. So that's one. It can also be more active and. And we're always on C. Sounds. Now that's for major 7ths. There's a lot of other ones you can use, of course, but those two are cool. If you had, for example, a 7th chord, another one that I like to use is from the altered scale, is the raised 4th and raised 5 of that chord. So for G, it would be C sharp and D sharp. So if you had in mind that we're on a G7 chord, that sound, pretty interesting sound. It can resolve to C after. Another one would be from the diminished scale, playing triads of G, B flat, D flat, and E. So as you can see, there are a lot of different musical applications for this principle. Triads are huge and a very important part of playing the guitar. I teach privately and I teach through Skype. You can click on the link of my article I wrote for Music Prof that explains this pretty thoroughly. And yeah, good practicing, and hope to see you soon.